rise of all the different, like cervical cancer and breast cancer. Nicole and I were like, is it because the fabric's closest to your body?
This is a brand, like I already just did this, so this is a brand men should be engaged with on behalf of their women. If you're looking for women to believe in, to be something that your daughters or you can be proud of to support their brand, you've heard how they've acquired their fame, how they've acquired their success. It's the right way. Welcome back to Max Out with Ed Mylett. So excited about today's program.
Yay! Thank you for having us.
Good. I don't think these ladies need much of an introduction, but in case you don't know, if you've been living under a rock and don't watch any TV or WWE, or you don't drink wine, or you're not on the internet in any way, you may not know them. But if you are, you know who these two ladies are. So I have next to me Brie and Nikki Bella, the Bella twins.
Hello.
From everywhere, from Total Divas, Total Bellas now, WWE, all kinds of brands. We're going to talk about all that today. So thanks for being here, ladies.
Thank you for having us. I mean, the view.
The view's pretty good.
I could look at this all day.
It's not bad. We're hoping for whales.
We're hoping for whales. That's our goal by the end of it.
Right.
Hopefully by the end of the day. Maybe some sunlight too. I'd love you to see that. But so let's start. Everybody knows the after product. So when I have people on that are so successful, you guys have built these amazing brands and of the two of you and businesses too, which we'll get to. But can we go back just like a little bit, like before, because it's a trip. The two of you become really the most two well-known, certainly women, but people in the history of your entire business in the WWE. And so, and I told you earlier, one of the things that impresses me about you is I don't think fame's altered you.
Yeah.
No, it really hasn't.
I think you're comfortable with your fame, like it's like you're almost born for it. You know, some people were. So
that's very sweet. Thank you.
But I bet if we watched from your birth to about 18, we wouldn't predict this. Speaking of that, right?
Well,
not at all.
No, actually, no.
I mean, granted, did we like to lip sync to the Spice Girls for my parents and all their friends? And we were, we traveled on a competitive soccer team, and we learned athletics at a very young age and realized we had a natural ability for it. But if you would have told me that I was going to see the East Coast in middle school, I would have been like, wait, what? I get to see New York sometime in my life? I would have been blown away.
Paris, and then Tokyo.
And wrestle in, Japan, Italy, all these places. No.
Unbelievable. So did you wrestle, though, growing up? Like, were you wrestling?
I mean, each other.
Yeah. This was a constant battle. Our brother was a collegiate wrestler.
Okay.
And so he would always want to practice moves on us, but we were just, I know, it was so obnoxious. I was like, can he just quit the wrestling team? Because it was like, we couldn't walk in the house without getting tackled.
Well, then he got really into The Rock, and then that took everything to a whole different level.
So
with him.
When he was into The Rock, were you at least watching WWE back in those days? Or?
Nicole and I were into Dynasty.
Oh yeah, I remember Dynasty. Of course I did.
And Nick at Night, like Friday nights, we'd watch the Fonz. Yeah, we loved all the old school.
We did. Nicole and I were really outdoorsy girls. Like we were building forts. We were outside with all of our farm animals. Okay. We weren't really into TV, and soccer took so much time. Yeah.
That was it travel soccer like everywhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so for us, it was like any free moment we had, it was like we wanted to be outside. Like it wasn't about being inside and watching TV. And to be honest, our parents didn't watch wrestling. And I think that happens a lot when you're younger, is your parents might be fans and put you in front of the TV and watch, or your friends might watch it, and we were never surrounded by it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
So how does it happen? How do you end up becoming this? Like, what were you doing right before this?
We were Hooter girls.
Hooters.
So
perfect preparation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were looking. We were looking for a job at 18, and we just heard like waitressing, you make a lot of money. And in high school,
and it was in California.
In California,
not in Arizona.
In high school, which we went to in Arizona, Nicole was working at a health fitness place, and I was working for my mom, and so. We wanted to go to college at Grossmont Community College and dorm at San Diego State. But Mom's like, well, you're going to have to work.
Right.
And so we were like, okay, well, what can we make the most money at? And who will hire us? Right. And we're like, Hooters.
Perfect.
You can be 18. Yep. We hear the cash is amazing.
In California, if a restaurant had a hard alcohol, or spirits, you had to be 21 or over to waitress.
Right.
But not at Hooters.
Hooters was just beer and wine.
And so, beer and wine. Okay. So then we started showing the WWE pay-per-views. They were they once a month or every couple months?
Oh, at the Hooters, the pay-per-views would be on.
Pay-per-views. So that's how we started to become really familiar with WWE.
I know, isn't that hilarious?
That's unreal.
And so then there was a program that WWE used to have called Diva Search.
Yes.
And so they were always on a search for like at the time they'd called women wrestlers divas.
Yeah.
They were always on a search like looking for them.
Okay.
So Nicole and I begged her to come with me to Diva Search, and I told them, like, I have a twin sister, but at the time Nicole was looking to play pro soccer in Italy.
All right.
And so, because she had broken her leg our senior year of high school, and then after it healed, she really wanted to make a comeback to soccer.
So you were a really, really good athlete.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she did always get first place with a lot in soccer, and I was right behind her. But
you were right behind.
But I always like to think I was more artistic than her, and I shared that part of the womb with.
Right.
Yeah.
You got the creative side.
I got more the
we
creative.
Both got the creative.
Yeah, but
You were just the free bird at that time.
There you go.
You wanted to follow the musicians.
Yeah.
around.
So Nicole, I did my 20s. So then Nicole, I just told her, I'm like, just come with me, let's check it out, and if you don't like it, go to Italy, play soccer. If you do, then we'll become wrestlers. So her and I showed up, and we showed up in like sneakers, ripped up jeans, and we made these shirts that said Breezy for Sheezy, Nicole for show. And we had bandanas because we wanted to come in as like
the coolest nicknames ever.
But we were kind of shocked at what all the women were wearing, and we're like, oh.
What were they wearing?
Just
they look like go-go dancers, I guess you could say. A lot of sparkles and like those kind of skirts, like the tutu feel skirts.
Yeah, and so she was so mad.
I was so mad at her.
But like when you're driving there, are you thinking like, I don't wrestle?
Yeah, we just thought they were gonna like test our like athletic ability, and we're like, we're naturally athletic.
Okay.
I literally remember my preparation for
We thought, like,
Diva Search. I was like running around the track, like doing the mile. And
Like we literally were at the gym.
I'm thinking like Brie tells me, yeah, we're gonna go to Diva Search, but it's like wrestling, and I'm like, okay, well I'll go wrestle some people, sure. I mean,
that's awesome.
Kind of like how you see Glow now when the girls
get
get in the ring and they're like, and you see them like pushing and doing weird stuff. I figured maybe something like that was gonna happen.
Yes.
Like I didn't know.
Yes.
But it was way different than what we thought. And kind of at the time they weren't prepared for twins. So to think of twins going through and to the top 10, they just were like, oh, we don't know if we're ready. But actually Kristen Prouty, who you know, she pulled us aside and was like, we're really interested in you guys. And we're like, we want to do this, but we were kind of like a little down from that day just because like we knew twins couldn't go through. And we felt like they didn't really like us. We're like,
and they could have picked one or the other.
Yeah,
right?
and I'll be honest, like a lot of the girls were extremely sexy, and Nicole and I just never knew our sexiness. Like we kind of
even working
we were
at
in
Hooters.
bikinis with like
but at Hooters it was like
I think when you're with the San Diego girls, and you probably know living in California, it was like we met actually our best friends in the whole world. We're still this strong group, and people always be like, "Where'd you guys meet?" And we're like, "College," but we all met at Hooters.
Yeah, college,
Hooters
University.
The same background and like all kind of like we're drawn there in the same way. Yeah. And we're just the girls that liked watching football and having beer. We weren't. I don't know.
Very
like,
natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Kristen Prouty just told us like all these great things that we could do with WWE, and they offered us to go to McDonough, Georgia, which they call the Deep South, get in the ring and kind of try it.
Yeah.
So we flew to McDonough, Georgia. We got in the ring and we fell in love. We were like,
you loved it.
Yeah, you know what it was? Is Nicole and I were kind of like a little confused what we wanted to do in life. Nothing felt right. When we got in that ring.
A lot of young people relate to that, by the way.
Yeah.
That's true.
The minute we got in the ring, it's something we never knew growing up. It was nothing that was ever introduced to us. It was something we found and we instantly connected with. And her and I looked at each other and we go, whoa, this is what, and it gives me goosebumps. Yep. This is literally what we have been searching for.
See, I think that's how it works, by the way. I don't think most of your dreams in life show up in the package you expect them to.
Right.
No,
I really don't.
agree.
Or even your spouse in many cases, right? Maybe not even,
totally.
But once they do show up, there's this instant intuition you have, almost like I belong here, or
that's
I belong
what it felt
with
like.
this person. There's like a belonging that you feel, I think, when you find something.
Yeah.
But it's sort of a trip. I mean, let's be honest. You're working at Hooters. You go. They don't want you.
Yeah.
Right. And then you still pursue it though. So that's the other thing too that people need to learn, especially young people to watch this. Like that dream may not just reveal itself to you in ease. Like it's just automatic. Like things don't just fall right into place easily. You have to push through some of these walls and barriers, right? And you guys are obviously point of that.
Yeah, and take those chances. I think sometimes people are so afraid to step outside of the box or I mean, did I ever think I was going to become a professional wrestler? Not that time. Like if I was to tell anyone, they're like, wait, what are you gonna do?
Right.
But I didn't have that fear of like, no, yeah, that's what I'm gonna go do, and I'm gonna try it out. And even when my mom was like, no, my grandfather was like, no, we were like,
grandma.
yes, no, we're gonna do it.
Huge, because
Now,
those two things, by the way, when I interview people, those two things are what stop everybody. It's the initial like family, actually, people that love you going, you're nuts, stop it, don't chase that, be normal, like conform, right? So you didn't listen to those things. That's huge.
Yeah, and we were in serious relationships at the time, and we were 22 years old at the time. Yeah, we were 22 years old at the time, both dating older men who we went and told, like, we want to be professional wrestlers and we're going to move to Tampa, Florida. They were like, no.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I was with my boyfriend at the time for 2 years.
Long time.
And he
At that
looked
age,
at me and goes, you're just all of a sudden going to pick up your stuff and move away from me?
And across country, I mean, moving from
the coast.
LA to Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I was like, in my heart, I feel like I need to do this. And I just want you to support me on this. And even though I was 22, so in love, I told myself I would never let a man hold me down. And I wasn't going to make a decision based on him. And we packed up was it Nissan Sentra?
Yeah, Nissan Sentra.
Nice ride.
Yeah.
Or was it in Malibu?
No, it was a Sentra.
Sentra.
I think it was a Sentra. But her and I were like, we sold one car, we packed all our stuff in one, and then we drove to Tampa.
Country.
I got to tell you, no matter what it is, such a trip, man. Because your career is like totally unique, right?
Right.
Like no matter what it is, when I interview people that have become really successful, there's these threads. And like a lot of them is, it didn't show up like what I thought.
Right.
I kind of took this risk. My family didn't want me to do it.
Yeah.
I sacrificed. I can't tell you how many people have loaded up cars or moved into apartments or like I guess what I'm saying is they step way back first.
Yeah.
Like you were at Hooters, you're probably doing pretty good, drinking some beer on the weekend, had some good boyfriends. Life wasn't that bad. Now you're in a car driving down the Sentra. I can picture you two going out there. That's crazy. Were you both saying we're crazy, or were you both like, we're gonna try this, we're gonna do this?
There was like an excitement there.
Yeah.
I think it was.
And we thought there was, because as waitresses, we were making good money, and then it went from what we make in one night to almost what we were going to make in a week. So we were even taking a big cut, with our finances in. But her and I, it was just that connection we had with WWE that was so instant that even though if we fail, we were like, we have to do this.
We have to try.
And her and I were never, the thing about Nicole and I is we don't have ego.
You don't.
So we're never scared to fail. Because for me, like my mom told us growing up, you can't live with no regrets. Like my mom's like, you wake up in the morning and you regret something, you will hate yourself. Wow. So my mom always embedded that in us, and Nicole and I've always lived like that with no regrets. Even if we fail, it's like, well, we tried it, we sucked at it, so.
Such huge, like things that you do really naturally, the two of you are like huge lessons for other people. Like all this stuff, especially young people who find they need to hear this stuff. Like you don't want to have regrets. I'm old now, man. I'm 47. I'm so glad I took risks when I was younger, and I'm not sitting here now lamenting things I didn't try because I did fail at other things, right? So I totally want to acknowledge the power of what you just said. It's awesome.
No,
so you go there. Obviously something clicks. You're in Tampa. What was the first? So you go through all of this stuff. You're pushing your way. What's that first night? Did you say it was a Monday Night Raw that you were on?
No, so Friday Night SmackDown.
Okay, Friday
and we
night.
were in Pittsburgh.
What was that like? I mean, obviously you'll never forget that.
I wanted to vomit. No, it was so blurry going down, but
What
you know,
mean
at the
blurry?
time,
Like you were blurry? Like,
I'll never forget because they're like, you guys are gonna come up next Friday. We're gonna debut.
Yeah.
One twin's gonna be under the ring. The other one will have the match. Then we're gonna do a twin switch. All of a sudden, she breaks her nose the next night at FCW.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, like, so bad. You could barely see my eyes.
Yeah.
I looked like a dinosaur. Like, I didn't even look human.
Oh my god.
It was so bad.
So,
I put on a lot of
makeup.
I was like, or I could punch you in the face. And
That could be your
like,
deal.
no, thank you. So then they ended up having me, it'd be my name, Brie Bella, coming down the ramp, and Nikki hadn't debuted yet. But Nikki hadn't debuted yet, so we did the whole twin switch, but I'll never forget, FCW didn't have TV at the time, like there's NXT now, so nobody knew who we were, so we were gonna be able to get away with it. But we were semi-main event. When they announced my name, the crowd went dead quiet.
But say everything before with our outfits.
Oh, well, so the outfits that we had and then what we spent money on.
Brie and I always wanted to be prepared. So if we ever got called up on the road, we went and had like these 3 beautiful outfits, very Britney Spears inspired because we loved her at the time.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to have gorgeous TV outfits made, and so if we ever got the call, we were going to be like, look so well put together.
But the girls didn't allow us to wear, which I understand. being new girl and you have to deal with the veterans. And at the time, like WWE isn't like that anymore. And I think it's because a lot of us who are now the veterans went through it. And I feel like there's no reason to put someone through that. But they just had a lot of rules. It was like sorority. We walked in, nope. We're like, okay. And we actually got dressed. You changed way down.
Changed in the public bathroom, down the hall.
So we had no idea what to do. And we weren't about to like rock the boat with the other girls. So the seamstress at the time were like, what do you have in your bag? We're like, we have a teeny and our workout pants from earlier. They're like, so they cut our bikini, they sew it on, workout pants that we wore earlier that day, and that's how we debuted.
No, wait.
Yeah, I look back at those pictures and I'm like, oh, geez. But
it worked.
But it worked.
Yeah.
So they call your name, you went blurry though?
I did. I remember I was like in Gorilla and everyone's like staring at me like, you got this, you got this. And then I hear my music and they announce me and then I hear the crowd go dead quiet, like, who's that? And I think they were all like, is she local? And I come out and I'm like smiling real big.
Selling it.
And I'm just like, my heart was about to explode.
I was underneath the ring watching it on a monitor and I'm like, okay, what's the spot? What am I doing? Like my nerves were like so bad. And I had to get loaded under. So they put me in like sweatpants and a sweatshirt and then I go out with the crew and I'm hiding. But I was so nervous. I'm like, I can't even get the sweatpants off. Like, I'm like,
and because we're twins, she's nervous for me too.
Yeah.
Because if I don't perform good, it's on her as well.
And I heard the crowd get dead quiet. I'm like, oh no, don't mess up.
But it pulled off though. It worked. Did you know it worked? Did you know it worked when you were done? You're like, we did it.
Oh yeah. And the crowd actually got into the match.
Okay.
So I actually was like, and I was lucky to work with Victoria, who honestly, like, I was like. She had been there for so long, and when they're like, you have to beat her, Nicole and I were like, wait, we have to beat Victoria? But she was so cool about it.
So amazing.
And she helped me out so much in that match, and we got the crowd into it. And when I went under the ring, the crowd loved it.
Okay.
They loved it. And then all of a sudden, Nicole, Victoria went under, and then she pulled Nicole out, but the crowd didn't know. The crowd loved that. They just loved that Victoria reached under and yanked Nicole out.
She was the perfect person to do it, because not only was she like this powerhouse, but she was so animated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she really sold the whole like twin thing going under the ring, and I think that also helped people believe in it so much.
That is so, like, see, I think also like what you're doing, also those lines that run through other things. I think when you prepare, there are points in your life where like you have to hit that moment. Like there's a moment and you got to deliver, right? And like you guys prepared that. Because if you don't deliver that night, you may never get any heat again, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Your heat may be gone forever.
Yeah.
And so
it's so
true. It gives you chills because that's so true.
Yeah, you got to hit your moment.
Have like that one moment, and we had those actually end up being like a month straight because Vince loved the twin switch, and so he would work with us in rehearsals like, this is the timing you have to get, and I'd be like, Brie,
they're like, Bella, go to rehearsal, and
did you say Vince worked with you?
Yeah.
Really, directly?
Directly with all her twin switches, which was almost like more nerve-wracking than performing.
Sure.
Because I wanted to make him so happy.
Of course, you want to make him proud, exactly.
And
so why does it work though? Like, why did it work? What do you think it is about you two that's worked?
You know what?
That's a good question.
I think for Nicole and I think because we're twins, and I think for us, the one thing we've noticed, and you can say your part, like add on to it, but as little girls, people would grab us and go, like they're like, are you guys twins? You look like, and we'd be like, yeah. They're like, no, her nose is this and her eyes are that and this and that. Every day would happen to us, and they're like, but you're all the time we'd get compared and then picked apart every day. So it made us very like confident, because it was like we could never get insecure because it just happened. We got used to it. So I felt like we never were in competition, because I always rooted her on and myself on. So then we never got in competition with other people.
So are you two don't have that normal rivalry that you would think siblings have?
No. So we never waste our energy, I feel like, on going against other people. We only use our energy to like help each other out and push forward.
And I think that's how we made it work backstage. But I think how we made it work as our characters and people getting behind us on one match was, Brie and I have this, I think, natural ability to connect with the audience. And I think sometimes that's what some of our superstars forget is, you can't be a superstar in the WWE if you don't connect with the audience. Because our WWE universe, they make up all of WWE. So our shows would mean nothing without our crowd.
Right.
We'd have no one just boo us or cheer us or say this is awesome, or they make our stories happen. And I think Brie and I just realized that early on. We just had that instant crowd connection. And then we realized, like, this is about the fans. This isn't even about us.
And I think they felt that. Like, I think they felt the respect that we were giving to them, making them a part of the show.
Yeah, so I see that with you guys. Tell me about that. Like, what's this Bella Army whole thing you guys...
They're amazing.
They're amazing. And they started it, by the way.
They did.
Okay.
So very early on, so we had this crowd connection. And Brie and I just started to learn, like, I was like, okay, so you mean something here if the crowd believes in you. And it could be booing or cheering, but if they don't make noise, then no one cares. So you need to make them care. And so Brie and I just became very interactive with our fans. We'd always think about them. We'd put matches together. At that day and age, it wasn't about like how big your moves are. And I still feel it isn't about that now. It's about like what's going to draw them in and make them believe this story.
Yep.
And so then social media came around.
Yeah.
And I think Brie and I were just some of the first that were very interactive with our fans online. Like people like to ignore, play the too cool, but we're like, I'm not too cool. Like these people are the reason why I am cool. And so all of a sudden we were so interactive with them, they started to call themselves the Bella Army. So we embraced it. And then they were giving each other positions. I'm the leader of this and I'm that.
And then we acknowledged the positions.
Yep.
And I think, like, I'll never forget when we were at the State Fair and we saw Reba McEntire perform. And we sprinted to the way back, and when she was walking on her bus, there was a crowd of us. She waved, and I swore she waved at me.
Yeah.
And I was so young, but that wave made me, as a little kid, so excited to go to school and tell people all this. And I'll never forget that because I want to do that for my fans.
I love that.
I want them to know, like, I see you. I see what you're saying. I see the help you need. I see the encouragement you give me. And I want to acknowledge that because I want them to feel good.
It's just real with you, though. Like, now that I've met you, like, it's how you are. So it's not like some strategy. You know what I mean? That's what I love. And that's so important. Like, I think the whole, like, even with me, with my group that, you know, that I work with or follow me on social media, this whole like old school thing of like you're better or above the group of people is like major old school. And unless you really think that way, which means you're twisted, right?
Yeah.
But like the two of you really are real. I said this earlier, like very few people I meet are really comfortable with fame. Like they really didn't alter you all that much. It magnified you. Made you even better, which is awesome. It's kind of like alcohol, right? Or money. Money, alcohol, and fame are the same things. They're magnifiers. They make you more of what you already are. So if you give a really good person a whole bunch of money, they're typically more generous and more philanthropic and better. You give a curmudgeon a bunch of money, they're cheaper and more mean, right? You give a good person fame, and they magnify themselves. They magnify the people, and you guys really, really do exemplify. That's why you're so big.
Well,
thank you. That means a lot.
It's true. So like, there's all this stuff to talk about. So you obviously dominate on that. The show is incredibly popular. And then you've split off now, and there's now Total Bellas, right? So now you've got your show. What's it like having? It's got to be different. You're working at Hooters. You grew up kind of in a kind of a farm kind of environment, right? You told me about your mom, who we'll talk about in a minute. What's it like having fame, though? Having cameras around you a lot all the time. Is that natural for you? Is there an adjustment that you had to make? And
for a big adjustment.
I mean, it's
for
definitely
both of us.
It's definitely become natural now. But in the beginning, like when the opportunity came to Brie and I, we definitely had to sit. It wasn't an immediate yes, and I think it's why it wasn't for us is Brie and I never craved to be famous. So it wasn't like, oh, they're gonna put me on TV. We both like, let's talk about this. This is our life. This is gonna be our relationships. Do we want this stuff out there? But then we said, if we say yes, we have to put everything out there. Like we
have to be an open book.
And so it took us like 2 weeks to like discuss and
and then I told my husband, well, at the time we were just boyfriend girlfriend. He's like, I don't think we're entertaining. And I'm like, I think you're right. I don't think we are.
I don't think we're entertaining. I don't think anybody thinks they're entertaining. But you're right. Obviously you are. There's been something to it. So you're willing to put it all out there, which is really interesting.
Totally. And I think that's why like we got the spin-off Total Bellas and why Total Divas did become such a massive success, not only because I think the whole world wanted to see behind the scenes of women's wrestling, but Brie and I were so organic. We were just us, and I think the world was craving realness because so many people go to Front Street and they act like there's something they're not.
But smoky mirrors,
right?
100%.
And we're like, no, we're these normal people that live like this, and we do this, and we really like to drink, and
we don't have filters.
I love it.
And we say what's on our mind, which people laugh and some people be like, I can't believe you said that. I'm like, well, wait, what? Was that
Exactly
bad?
what
I don't
we think.
know.
No,
Right.
but like what's on, by the way, I got to say this to you. What is on people's minds as they watch me and you, like they would want me to ask you a couple of these things, so I need to do that. So both of your husbands are part of the show too from time to time. They're interesting dudes.
They are.
Both of them are your future husband, your husband. And so for you, I'm curious. So you've had a lot of change the last few years.
Oh
so
my gosh.
You've had a baby. So talk a little bit about what, the easy question is like, how's it have being a mom? That's like a generic, like what surprised you about it? I want to know that. And then secondly, your husband, Brian, or Daniel Bryan, he's coming back, right? And so there's been this 3-year really struggle in your family between his injury, him being out of the business, you being in the business, having a baby. Tell us about that, and then the baby part. What surprised you about it?
Yeah, you know, it's crazy with the baby part. I think, especially being a new mom, before having Birdie, I thought when Birdie comes, she's gonna walk into my life. I'm still gonna do everything, all these like type of stuff. But what I didn't know is the love that you would feel, and that all of a sudden everything that was important to you just took notches down, and Birdie all of a sudden is number one. And we were traveling like for the Royal Rumble, and it was right when Birdie first started teething. And then she got a fever and got sick, and I all of a sudden thought she was getting RSV, and we went to the hospital. And I remember sitting in the hospital with her, and she was on my chest sleeping. And I was kind of like, what the hell am I doing? Like, my baby's number one. And in that moment, I was willing to almost drop everything. And I had no idea what that kind of love felt like. Like, I love my husband, and I love my sister and everything. Your child that love is the most
unconditional love.
I have unconditional.
That's the difference, though. I think you love your spouse conditionally. They can't cheat. They can't do this, right? Your baby could do whatever.
I know.
Your child could do. They can kill somebody. You love your baby, right? It's unconditional. It's totally different.
I just was not expecting that kind of love. I just never knew it. And it's crazy because it will make you change your whole life.
That's wonderful.
And you know, with my husband, I think it was one of the best things for him, because when Brian had to retire a couple years ago from WWE, he had a major breakdown. And the one thing he's been fighting kind of his whole life is depression, and that really amplified it. And in our marriage, it was hard because I have a lot of energy. I'm a very positive person, but the doctors kept telling me, Brie, you can't change him. Like, you can't say, but all these other things are so great, because to someone who deals with depression, it's not.
That's right.
And so they're like, you got to take a step back. You got to give him space. You need to let him breathe. He has to find it himself, happiness. And that was really hard on me, because I'm like, I want to nurture and help everyone. And, but you know, like my husband even said in his speech, I kind of was like, listen, you want to wrestle? Figure it out. And if WWE won't allow it, maybe someone else will, but go to all the doctors. Like, they had one doctor say no. Go see the NFL doctor, see this doctor and that. And he did. He paid for his own flights to Denver, to New York, to Jupiter, Florida. We were lucky enough in Phoenix to have the NFL doctor there. Every single doctor was like, you're healthy. You are healthy. Yeah, you can perform.
Wow.
But every time you go to, you know, WWE, they're just like, you know, and I will say, not only was it protocol, but WWE cares about Brian.
That's what I was going to say.
And they kept telling Brian, we're looking at your next 20 years. We're not looking at your next 2 years in the ring. We care about your well-being, which as a wife, I was like, I do too, but I'm also looking at my husband who wants to wrestle. And that's the only thing that makes him happy, and life's too short.
So wonderful. There's a video that y'all can watch on YouTube of when he got back in the ring. And he was in character, but he gets back in the ring and he decides to talk about his comeback, and instantly he leaves character and just starts talking about you and what you did for him. And by the way, that is a great thing about WWE, because I work with a lot of NFL guys, and their doctors are the reverse. Oh, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, because they just want that product out there. So I think oddly, it's wonderful that they care about his life that way.
I agree.
The other piece too that's interesting to watch, and this is just for all of you that struggle with depression too, because a lot of the people I work with do. One of the things that's a catalyst in causing it to exaggerate itself is lack of physical activity. So like when you already struggle with that, you've got to move your body regularly. You've got to work out regularly, because depression is actually a physical move too. And so it can be triggered by lack of physical activity. So he had like the double whammy going to some extent, where he struggled with it a little bit, and then he's probably not as athletic anymore as he once was when he was hurt, and that'll make it flare. So one of the triggers out is actually working out and moving your body, just so you all know. That is a trigger to get out. So
well, you know what's crazy is I know he needs workout, because the doctors told me that too. But when Birdie first came, I'd complain to Cole. I'm like, Brian's at the gym every day for 3 hours, and I know I can't get mad. But I'm like, I'm here with an infant.
That's
but
so
it is.
wonderful.
It's crazy how workout makes him change.
Changes your
and
state.
Yes.
Changes your state. It's like it's a
does.
major trigger for most people. So you got good things going, girl. You got the baby. You got Birdie.
Yes.
You're coming back too, right? You're going to be back soon.
I had a match at Royal Rumble,
Right.
and that kind of made me think I need to rethink my comeback.
Okay.
And I just want to wait a little longer
Okay.
until I feel really settled with Birdie and
Sure.
that I can do stuff. It was funny because I told Brian, I'm like, well, the mixed match challenge sounds really interesting.
Cool.
And I'm like, maybe I can come back and do a fun story with you on that.
Okay.
So it's definitely in my future. I'm just
Okay.
trying to pick. I thought I could do it quickly.
Okay.
And
Well, you've gotten back in shape quickly.
oh, thank you.
I mean, you have. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you don't look like you've had a baby 11 months ago. But so you're in a great season of your life, though. So you've got the programs cranking. You've got you're kind of coming back. He's come back. The baby.
Right.
Such a great time in your life, and I'm happy for you. By the way.
Thank you.
No.
That means a lot.
And then
I'm
for
so
you,
blessed.
Yeah.
your deal's interesting too. So
Yep.
those of you that don't know, Nikki is getting married to, can't tell you when, but getting married to John Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's a great time for you too. And so tell me a little bit
it
about
is.
that. What's it like for you? I'm curious because now there's, you have this too, but now there's two super well-known people. Your travel schedules are
Yeah.
bananas, right? So
Yeah.
Oh,
how do
yeah.
you navigate all that stuff? I'm curious.
It's very difficult. It's taken some therapy. I'm not
Is
gonna
that
lie.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like so for therapy. I think it's nice to have that neutral person.
Sure.
Because sometimes when our communication can just get a little lost
Yeah.
because someone, mainly me, wants to hear one thing in a moment. But John and I have made it work. We've been together 5.5 years. It'll be 6 years in August. And I will say that since we got engaged in April, and it's been almost a year, we barely have seen each other. I want to say we have
crazy.
probably have shared our bed 40 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, maybe a little more. He says a little more, and I'm like, I feel like I can count them all. But we've just both have been so busy. But I think why we work so well is we both are so supportive of our careers.
Yep.
And like, John, he'll be like, should I say no to this movie? Like, I have to be on set of the song. And I'm like, absolutely not.
Go.
Because
Yeah.
I don't want you to ever take an opportunity away from me.
Yep.
And I will never take one from you.
Yep.
But you have to make those sacrifices. Like, okay, I know I could be at home these 3 days, but I should go to set and see John. Or John's like, these 3 days I could be in Tampa, but I know I should go all the way to the West
Yeah.
Coast and see Nicole on her set. And so we both have been really great about that. And I have to say that has helped, especially because I still and Brie, we're older and like, we've been together a while. So our wedding, wedding planning bliss is a little different. I think when
Yeah.
you're in that first 2 years of being together,
Yes.
it's like, whoa, we're getting closer to the 7-year itch.
Yeah.
So there's certain things we'll discuss, and I'll be like, we've been together a really long time. Because I think people would handle this way
differently.
Really have, thank goodness, have figured out a way. Because I'm not going to lie, it gets really tough when you're away from your partner for so long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And a lot of people relate to that. They have a busy spouse. When you have two,
Two,
that's
it is-
magnified.
yeah.
The show is interesting because at least it appears as if you've been real about that dynamic too on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Your relationship with him, like
Yes.
marriage, the whole thing, like whether it was going to happen, whether he
Oh.
wanted it to happen, whether, all that kind of stuff. Has the show helped, hurt, or neutral the relationship? Really?
At times it's definitely hurt because you have to relive those really
That's-
tough moments.
yeah. Yes.
And because I am such an open book, John is not an
Yes,
open book.
that's
He
right.
is
I see that.
extremely private.
Yeah.
So then you put that in the mix,
Yeah.
and he'll be like, "I can't believe you talked about that." And I'm like, "Well, I was in a normal conversation with my sister." He goes, "But the
Yeah.
cameras were rolling," and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know
Right.
if they're rolling or not. I'm so beyond that,
Yeah.
and that's the stuff that will like start an argument when it
Yeah.
wouldn't have been an argument. But then there are times where I feel like it's helped because I have a hard time communicating. Like, I'm just such a pleaser by nature, so it has forced me to talk about things.
Yeah.
And John will be like, I mean, I guess I have to get the whole world involved to
Yeah.
really know how you
Yep.
feel.
Yep.
But so those are times where I'm like, okay, it's been a plus. It's forced me to communicate with my significant other. But then it's just hard to relive those moments. And it was hard to be the girl that like, yeah, hey, I'm that girl that the guy doesn't want to marry or have babies with.
Yeah, that's not easy.
That was like really tough.
Right.
And like when I would like see him talk about it too in the media, I'd be like, dang, like did
Yeah.
you really have to go on Today's Show and talk about
Right,
that?
this topic, right.
But so now I'm loving all his media lately because he's like just
Lovey-dovey.
yeah,
Yeah, I noticed that.
so lovey-dovey and
Yeah.
talking about this and that. So now I'm like, oh, I like how this.
Because I saw him say in an interview that one of the things on the show that was good for him is watching himself back a little bit too, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, what struck me about it was I'm from New England, I'm from Massachusetts also
Oh,
originally.
okay.
So I relate to being one way like on, and then
Yeah.
privately I'm really introverted, and when we come from that part of the country, there's this sort
Yeah.
of buttoned-upness that we
Yes,
have.
you guys have that.
We
It's
do.
so true.
And I've noticed that in him. He's got this persona, and then he's got this other side that he's private and he's introverted. And I think part of that is our personalities, but also where we grew up. I'm from the
Yeah.
same area of the country.
That's true.
And so there's an element of that someone from San Diego, or you know,
Yeah,
Europe.
we're like, woo,
it's a little bit,
Freebird.
it's a little bit different. I just noticed that that's different. So
That's
cool.
actually, it's so true. And
never
it
even
is funny
thought
because
about
I always
that.
tell him, like, you get so corporate. Like,
Yes,
loosen up.
yes, yes.
You're the guy that I get to see.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, no, I mean, I am at times. I'm like, no, you're not.
I see your face change and you just did that. That's killer. But I watch that dynamic, and I have other friends that are on some reality shows, and one of my buddies keeps telling me, he goes, well, they just edit me that way. I'm like, no, dude, you're that way.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
actual camera, and you actually said those things.
Yeah.
I told
Right?
you all the same. I'm like, you get so stern.
Yeah.
I'm like, believe me,
Yeah.
I get in trouble by you.
But
Like,
it
you
is
get really
oftentimes
stern.
for the male. It is like snippets of moments, whereas it's more a breadth of content with you.
Right.
So, but my buddy
Totally.
struggles with that, and they usually keep catch him, and they catch my buddy sort of in these buttoned up, cold moments, and I'm like, you're way warmer, and
Yeah.
you know, and I bet you
Yeah.
he is too. So,
No, he is.
and he's showing that
so
more in the
polite.
interviews.
Totally. In the interviews and even in his movies, you
Yes.
see, like, John's doing improv, but he's so good at it because that's who he is.
who he is,
He's
yeah.
hilarious.
He's
By the way, you talk
hilarious.
about weird and funny. His
Yeah.
Instagram feed is weird and funny.
Right?
Like you want to go check
He's
out
so proud of it.
You want to check out the dude has way more followers than me, and you should go check out Cena's Instagram because
It's crazy.
it's kind of crazy.
crazy.
It's there's not a lot of them like it. I just saw it the other day.
I just
so.
call him and be like, are you okay today? And he's like, what? I'm like, your Instagram post, because
Yeah.
you always put
I was trying to
something-
figure it out. What is he thinking
and
today?
he goes, yeah, this is like what it means. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
just making sure,
Yeah, I was-
like, we're all okay.
It takes me a while when I watch. I have to like process what the heck he's doing there.
yeah, oh my goodness.
So cool. Congratulations to you too.
Thank
On the
you.
wedding, whenever it ends up happening. We won't tell
Yeah,
everybody.
soon.
So
Sooner than later.
Let's segue a little bit into biz, because the two of you are, the reason I wanted you on the show is actually not WWE. It was, I think, I want to feature people, but particularly women, that I think are branding, marketing, and business experts that come from wherever they come from. And so you two exemplify that. I think you're exemplary businesswomen. And even our
you.
conversations off camera, it's obvious to me what you're going to do. Your career's going to have legs even beyond this, right? Because you're branding yourself. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that just for a second. Just branding in general. Are you guys conscious of a brand that you have? I know the answer to that, but do you think about that? Do you ever talk about like your brand, you know, protecting it and that sort of thing? So talk about that for a minute.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
I mean,
we,
Do you want to start? Or you,
Brie and I constantly talk about that, and I feel like we did in the beginning. We wanted to be this brand that no matter where it was going or how it was growing or where you would see, you'd always recognize it and you'd always know it was the Bella Twins. But we also wanted to have this brand that had meaning and had passion, like just how Brie and I live life, and something that can make a great change. And so that's like when the brand started as these wrestling girls. We knew that a key to growing our brand was always adapting, so always seeing the change of the audience, but then becoming these characters that how kids look at like Wonder Woman or Superman,
Yes.
that when they see a Bella twin, they're like, that's Brie Bella, that's Nikki Bella. And so I feel like our characters were at
I
first
just-
how we branded. So when I do an appearance, anytime I'm in my Nikki Bella outfit, because that is immediate kid, when they see me, they're like, wait, that's Nikki Bella. Like the snapback and the shoes and the socks and the jersey. And so that was like our first way of
yeah,
branding.
and it was
I
interesting.
love that. That gave
Yeah.
me a little bit of chills right there.
Superman, yeah, he never leaves without his cape, or Wonder Woman
Exactly.
without her crown. And
Wow, that's wonderful.
yeah, my
And-
snapback is like my crown. You know?
Yeah, and the one thing that Nikki and I wanted is for so long in WWE, we did have to be twins and dressed identical. But because of Total Divas, Vince saw how different we were.
Yeah.
And he was like, you guys, we go, you know, now Total Divas really showcasing that I'm more earthy and Nicole's more glam. Can we bring that to the ring? And he was very like open to it. And we were lucky that Total Divas was so successful, you know, in
Yeah.
the first season. And so the minute we did that and we branded ourselves like, not only are we the Bella Twins, but Brie is this way and Nikki's this way, I felt like it made like a bigger connection with the audience
Yeah.
and our fans.
Because they got to know who we were
Yeah.
instead of just these two girls that did everything identical. I mean, they make us talk identical backstage. It was like the worst.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And we were
like-
grateful for those times. But so that was definitely our first way of branding. And then it was just Brie and I really listening to our fans. So the
Okay.
Bella Army was created. So when we started to look at that, here we were like, okay, these are Nikki and Brie, these characters, and now they have this army. And that's a part of our brand. What makes our brand is the Bella Army. And so that started, so when we acknowledged the Bella Army, I was getting beat up on TV every week because this one got fired by the boss, storyline-wise.
Okay.
And they started calling me Fearless Nikki. The fans started calling me that. So I was like, you know what? That needs to be my name. So I went to WD Shock and I was like, hey guys, who do I talk to about branding myself as Fearless Nikki? And they're like, oh wow, we never thought of someone like having, you know, their name. And I'm like, I want this because that's what my fans call me. So all of a sudden we made a logo and here's Fearless Nikki, and I thanked the fans and I kept them a part of it, which started to make the brand bigger. Then naturally this one gets buzzed on TV, on Total Divas, and I since high school have called it Brie Mode, or I should say college.
So Brie Mode became a huge deal on the reality show. But then I noticed the WWE fans would chant it or say stuff, but I was like, I cared a lot about my younger audience. So I was like, with wrestling, how can I make Brie Mode stand out? Because the fans love it, but it means something to an adult and to a kid. So I would start screaming it before I do a missile drop kick or my big running knee. So I kind of started doing Brie Mode activated. Like all of a sudden I would fire up. So as a good guy, I'd get beat up. And then all of a sudden I'd start coming up. And then the minute I screamed Brie Mode, the crowd knew, like, okay, you just hit the wrong button with Brie. And then I would do my comeback. And then it started meaning something to the little kids. It meant like, that's when I get amped. But then to the mom, they come up and go, I was in Brie Mode last night and I'm feeling it. And
that's brilliant. But like, honestly, that's brilliant how you did that. Because that would be difficult.
When we came up with the shirt designs, at first they were thinking girly, and I go, no. It just needs to be unisex.
She knew she would have two different type of customers.
I knew I'd have the ones who wanted to wear it to get drunk, and then the ones who wear it because they love my wrestling and would come, and like, so we made just the red with the big black letters, Brie Mode, and anyone can wear it, and it means something different.
That's brilliant. By the way, I'm so stupid. I actually thought that storyline was true where you were fired. I was actually going to ask you about that.
Oh, really?
So it's believable anyway.
They did. They did it very well.
I had so much fun working with Stephanie.
Oh, it was so awesome.
That's so funny.
So then we have that brand. Here we now have branded names, and we have our branded looks, and we have this amazing fandom, the Bella Army. And Brie and I wanted to continue to grow it. And that's, I mean, since day one, we've wanted to break barriers as women in this company.
Which you have.
And Total Divas started to help give us that power of really breaking barriers because more women and little girls were coming to the shows to watch the Total Divas. So it started to give women more time on TV and a lot more people to appreciate women's wrestling. And then Triple H just took a huge investment in the women down at NXT. So with the power of Total Divas on the main roster and then the power of what the NXT women were doing, it was like women were just dominating.
Yeah.
And so to continue our brand, Brie and I always wanted our brand to have passion and meaning and to continue to grow it and adapt with it. And nothing was more perfect than being a part of this amazing women's revolution. And Brie and I truly have passion, and just a big part of our hearts is to even now continue to help the women like break barriers, whether it's promoting them or giving them advice or just helping them to get to the next level, because there's still so much more we could do as women there.
Oh yeah.
But then that's how we came up with Birdiebee.
I love it.
Is we're like, how can we branch off and still like have the Bella Twins brand and have these branded superheroes, but then also continue to reach women in a different way and empower them. And so we were sitting on a plane and we were like, okay, so how can we do this without taking bumps? Because we're going to hit a certain age and we're not going to be able to be in that ring as much.
Right.
Or the little kids might not think we're that cool, but everyone thinks Superman's still cool. So I don't know, maybe they'll still think we're cool and Wonder Woman. But we came up with Birdiebee, and what was crazy was we were just like looking online about stuff. And
well, because at first I said, I don't want to make just any type of product.
Right.
I want something that's in need, because I am hippie and I get anxiety when I see so much stuff out there.
We were so impressed by Toms.
Yeah, but I was kind of like, why don't we get into feminine hygiene? Because everyone needs feminine hygiene.
Well, women need feminine hygiene.
Yes.
Right.
Well, women.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, everyone. Wow.
And then
I mean,
Nicole,
maybe I need it, but I'm not sure.
And then Nicole was kind of like, well, we could create a whole big brand around it. Like it doesn't, a community. Like it doesn't have to just be those products. And then we started doing some research on the plane.
I was like, well, what's kind of in need? Because you feel like everything, all the markets are like just oversaturated. Like everywhere, there's stuff everywhere, right? But I really was like, not a lot of people are doing like panties where it's like healthy for you. And I'm like, there's nothing direct, at the time when we had this idea, there was nothing really then directed towards working out, that this is the right fabric I should wear working out, or I should wear during the day, or do I wear panties at night? So I started to research what doctors were saying.
Yep.
And I was like, Brie, did you know that we were supposed to be doing this and that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how am I think we're 31 at the time. I'm like, how am I 31 years old and I'm just learning about all this?
Yeah.
And with the rise of all the different, like cervical cancer and breast cancer, Nicole and I were like, is it because the fabrics closest to your body are so cheaply made that we don't realize it? So her and I really like started investigating so much.
And that's Birdiebee's Birds and the Bees. That's how we just smushed it together.
It's brilliant. And by the way, for the men who do this is a brand, like I already just did this, so this is a brand men should be engaged with on behalf of their women and behalf of their daughters too, right? We should be consuming this too, because what I love about it is, and I want to say this to everybody, the reason I love you too is like, I love how your brand was acquired. In other words, and I don't mean to demean anybody else, but like, if you're looking for women to believe in, to be something that your daughters or you can be proud of, to support their brand, you've heard how they've acquired their fame, how they've acquired their success. It's the right way, right? There's and I don't mean this in any way, but there's not a tape floating around or some sensational thing that took place. These are women who acquired their fame the right way, and you leverage it the right way. And the brand is awesome because I was looking through everything. It's really a combo of both of you. So it's really earthy, yet it's important for their health, etc. But it's glamorous too. Right?
Totally,
So
and there's
really,
like sexiness to it.
It really is. So
that was important.
It's really awesome, and I want to support this brand. I want the men that are watching this program to understand that the females in your life need to be engaged with them, and the ladies, this is obvious to you. This is something you can be proud of. It's healthy for you, and it's good for you. It's going to grow. It's just the beginning too. How do they find Birdiebee though? Let's just make sure they know that. Where do they go?
Go to birdiebee.com.
Yes, birdiebee.com.
Make sure y'all go there. And so I'm super impressed with the way y'all are branding yourselves. Like this is how you're supposed to do it. And this is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I want to help you with it too.
Thank you. That means so much.
We need to do that. We need to promote the brand on the show a little bit more too. And also, what I love, like, in addition to Birdiebee, is you guys like wine.
Oh,
right?
wine, no.
So I'm super fired up because we really got that in common.
Yes.
So,
we feel like we should be the mayors of Napa Valley.
Is that right? Why,
that's how we got in the wine business.
Are you there that much? Are you there that much?
We literally were killing their vineyards. Like
you said that slurry, like almost like the alcohol came back in there.
My mouth was just watering into the wine. It was like, saw that Opus 1 bottle. It was like, what are we doing?
Let's go. Should have had it during the show.
But it was Brie and I were going there so much. We made we've made such great friends.
Yeah.
And on the show, we were starting to really get known as winos. And this is just another thing that was natural.
Oh my gosh, look at the dolphins. Sorry.
There they are. I told you.
Wow.
I told you.
That is amazing.
So I got you dolphins. Hopefully I'll get you a whale too here in a couple minutes. I told you.
I love, and there's two, Nicole.
There they are. Yeah,
two
there they
dolphins.
There's at least two.
So cute.
Isn't that cool?
I love that.
I love that.
So we were just going to Napa Valley a lot, and everyone knew us as winos. All of a sudden, all our gifts from our Bella Army were turned into wine bottles.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I was like, this is awesome. And so finally, it was some of the winemakers that were like, do you guys want to get into the business? And we were like, we thought you never asked.
What?
But it was also a dream. Like, we were like, wait, really? Like us?
Yeah.
And then, like, not the wine snob, but the women that appreciate wine. I was like, well, I mean, it's going to be this cheap wine that we're just going to throw, like, Bellatones on it because I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
We don't want to just sell stuff. Like, I want to have a great wine. And they're like, do you think we want to do that?
Yeah.
Like, we appreciate wine, too. And I was like, okay, good point.
Good.
And then next thing you knew, we're working with the son of Hill Family Estate, Ryan Hill, and then I don't know if you know Tusk Estate.
Yes.
Tim Martin of Tusk Estate.
Okay.
That's another partner, and then his business partner
awesome.
Mark, who engaged branding. All five of us just were like, okay, we're gonna do this, and we're all gonna invest some money. Yeah. We know where to get grapes, and then
we're boutique. We're small.
I love it.
Now
how many cases a year? Do you know how many you're going to do?
Well, it's crazy because we've had 3 test runs and we've sold out. Our red wine sold out within
38 hours.
38 hours.
Gee, wow.
Yeah, our
white was 12 hours. The Sauvignon Blanc was 12 hours.
And our rosé was 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Get out of here.
And so,
actually,
yeah.
Did you guys buy it all, or did other people buy it?
No,
this one.
I actually didn't even get a bottle of rosé. I was sad. I'm like,
the computer system wouldn't shut down, so we oversold by so much because so many people hit it, and we all were like, we were thinking because the other one was $13.38 or whatever. So we weren't prepped for, like, all of us were off doing our own thing, and they were trying to get a hold of us, like, you guys, the system won't shut down. The lady who was running it was freaking out.
That's awesome.
So we all were like, wait, what happened? They're like, we just oversold the rosé. I'm like, we went on sale at 9 a.m. I'm like, it's 9:05.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
We
was
were
crazy.
just like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
And it's funny because Nicole and I feel so bad because there was a lot of upset
Of course,
fans.
yep.
So
Customers.
we printed out like all the stuff and we're signing the stuff to send
That's
them, like
cool.
just
Yeah,
like
we
sorry
felt
and
bad.
So tell
more
everybody
wine's
what the
coming.
name of the wine is, though, just so
So
they know.
the name
Bella
of the wine is
Radici.
Bella Radici, which is beautiful roots in Italian.
Love it.
And the reason why we came up with that name is all of us have some farming root, all of us partners. So and some of us are Italians, but we all were like, we have these beautiful roots, and wine brings beautiful conversations.
Absolutely.
And
It
it
does.
brings up the roots. And that was like why we wanted to have a name that captured people,
Yeah.
that gave a good conversation, a good topic.
We wanted
And
good
then-
art for our bottle.
And then our label, we know how many people love labels. And when you talk, you like to hold it and
Yeah.
show it. So we wanted something that had more a high fashion feel. So we got this artist from Paris, and she does like all high fashion. And so she had Brie and I's inspiration, but we didn't want it to like be like us. But I think that's what's so cool about our label is you're like, is that the Bellas or are these two women I know? It takes you back. So
I'm so excited for you guys.
yeah, thank you.
We don't have that much time left, unfortunately, but one of the things, probably my favorite thing about your brand isn't even all of this, and I love all of this. I love watching young, strong businesswomen build their brands, build their companies, and have business minds like the two of you have.
Thank you.
But one of the things that I love about WWE, particularly because I've watched the McMahons do this for years, and now you guys do it, and John is the #1 giver of Make-A-Wish grants, and it's the philanthropic. I get choked up on that, sorry.
yeah.
Oh, I love
No,
that.
it's amazing.
So it's the charitable stuff that you all do that
Yeah.
WWE does and he does as well. John does, and Make-A-Wish is involved as well.
Oh,
and
I
so,
know. I love that.
so her fiance is the #1 giver of wishes to children
Yeah.
ever, and so
Gives me
I love that.
goosebumps.
I know, me too. I love the philanthropic piece that you all
Yeah.
give back. So just talk a second about how important that is to you.
I
and your
know,
children.
right?
Talk about that just for a second. Why that's so important to you guys.
Well, you know, it's crazy because my husband, WWE works with Connor's Cure, and I was lucky enough to be really close with Connor because he was such a huge fan of my husband. But to see how all that went down, it was a YouTube video, and people kept tweeting Brian about it. And then finally, Justin, he was a ring announcer at WWE, he was like, hey, have you seen this? He's like, I have. He's like, I got in touch with the dad. Can you do something? And so Brian like showed up and surprised him. And I'll never forget Connor's face, being able to put him in a headlock, and it was this whole ordeal. And, you know, Brian and I always talk about this, and Nicole and I too. When we are connected with those fans and those people, it makes you go, this is all, everything else can go, but this I will do the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because it's the energy,
Yeah.
it's the way you feel, and it's the way they make me feel. Like, you know, we'll always say we put smiles on kids' faces, but they don't realize they put a smile on our face. And there's times you do walk away and you get upset, and like so many times when you're leaving the hospital, especially now that I'm a mom.
Yeah.
But I also think like I needed that. I needed just such an innocent soul to just refresh my life and make me realize what's truly important in life.
Yeah.
And
That's wonderful.
I just love giving back because they give so much to us.
Yeah, and I think for me, and I know Brie feels the same, but I do all this because I want to have a purpose. Like, I have to have a purpose when I'm putting so much passion into things, and at the end of the day, for me, it's to make some type of change in this world for the better.
Yeah.
It's either to change one person's life that, like, the day I leave here, that someone's like, she really helped me. That's why I do reality. Reality can be tough at times, but I can't tell you how many women come up to me and go, he said no to me for, like, so many years straight, but you give me hope.
Nicole gets more hugs in the Starbucks line than ever.
I do, but it's
We're like, I'm right there with you, girl. Let's hug it out.
yeah. But I always think, like, if I didn't have a purpose, there'd be no reason. Like, I love the life I live, and I'm so grateful for it. And I think that's it at the end of the day is, especially when I see the Make-A-Wish kids, I'm more grateful for my health and happiness. You could take everything else away, but I'm so grateful for that. And they remind me of that, but I also want to give them that happiness, and I just want to change things, because why are we here if we don't?
I
You know
agree.
what I mean? And that's what I'm so grateful to have such an amazing soon-to-be spouse like John, because we both keep each other in check. Like, we call our life fake life. And so we'll sit at dinner, we're like, here's this fake life, and then we'll like talk about things of this is real life, and I love it.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Like, and we just keep each other, like we do those checks and balances. But like John, we were at the house, and he had literally 5 hours till he had to leave for the airport, and he was home for I think a day and a half. And there was a man that was diagnosed with cancer that lived an hour away, and they're like, he's your biggest fan. Our neighbor just came over, and she's like, I don't expect you to go see him, but they gave him like 4 weeks. And his world got rocked. He had a headache, and then they're like, you have brain cancer and you have 4 weeks. And he drove an hour.
What a good man.
And spent an hour with him and hung out with him.
What
and then, came back, packed his bags, and he was off. And I just am like, that's why we do what we do.
I love that. By the way, I know you mean it. Like, it's interesting. People talk about making their dreams come true, talk about chasing things, talk about giving to other people, but you actually do it. Like, that's the difference. Like, you do it. No, and I want everyone to learn lessons. Talk is kind of cheap. Like, you got to do it, right? And the reason you feel this emotion when they're talking is because they're doing it. There's a power to actually doing it. And so I got one more question. I got 50 more. I got to like 3 of them. But I'm curious for women, maybe even young women that are watching this. What advice would you give them about their lives, about chasing their dreams? And you can talk directly to them if you want. I'm just curious what you would say to these young ladies who follow you. When I say young, that's all women, frankly, right? But I mean, you know this, the women, the Bella Army, but all the people that they may be watching you guys for the first time today. They've never seen you before. What advice would you give to young women?
Well, Nicole and I always have a thing we always say, and it's, you know, we always turn our negatives into positives. We always turn no into yeses. And through our blood, sweat, and tears, we realized anything was possible. And, you know, where we're at today, it didn't happen overnight. It took us a little over a decade. And I think now sometimes we expect things to happen fast. We expect to wake up in the morning, have an idea, give a little effort, and think, boom, I should be successful. But you have to enjoy the journey, because the journey helped us grow as women. The mistakes we made me realize that, whoa, I just learned something. My mom always say that, like, isn't it fun learning business? And I'm like, it is, because there's so many times I failed. And when I failed, I was like, okay, never doing that again. Now I know it's this way. And I just never give up. And it's so important to, like, just take that leap of faith and just go for it.
I agree. And I also, you know, I love being called Fearless Nikki, but I represent it so much because I truly feel you have to live your life fearlessly. And everything that comes your way, just stay so fearless, and you don't want to have the regrets. And I think also the best advice I could give is use your voice. If you feel a certain way, express it, and don't be afraid of it. There are times that I wish I communicated better with people, or I stood up for myself, and it took me years to learn it. And I was like, oh, I wish I learned this earlier, but I'm happy that I know it now. And that is just I think that's the best advice ever to give, is just use your voice and use it so strong and so fearlessly.
This was such a dadgum good conversation today. I don't even want it to end.
I know.
You two are really unique.
Oh, thank you.
No, you are. You're unique. Like, I've never met anybody like the two of you before. So
that means a lot.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
like, really.
Thank you for this view.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Nicole, I saw a little blue thing.
No, you didn't.
Way
you
back
keep making
there.
it up. It's probably another bird.
Look it. Way back there. I am not even
They're
kidding.
imagining whales, you guys.
Oh, it's a bird.
It's a bird. I told you it was a bird.
That bird
Those
just
were dolphins
messed up
earlier,
the
though.
whole whale
Those
idea.
were dolphins.
And
So,
thank you for all your advice.
Yeah,
no.
thank
your
you.
words.
it's just the beginning.
It's nice to meet people like you too, because I feel like it helps our energy and our excitement keep growing when we meet people like you.
Thank
It's just like,
You need to coach us.
I'm working on it.
Yes.
I'm here for you.
We're
Absolutely.
going to start
I'm
calling
in.
you Coach.
100% in.
Yeah.
Coach. Hey,
Coach
listen,
Ed.
everybody, one thing, you can find them on Instagram. You can find them on their YouTube channel is awesome as well.
Oh, yeah.
Also, go look for the WWE YouTube channel. And for those of you that are watching this, you know, as usual, I did not charge you for this today. I brought you these amazing women for free. So all I ask for you is some support, is to give a review on iTunes if you're listening to it, so it moves up around the world. More people get access to hear this story, and to make a nice like or a comment if you're watching on YouTube or something like that. So thank you, ladies, very much today.
Thank you.
All right,
This was
everybody, max
amazing.
out. God bless you.